Real combat. Real action. Carnage Media.
Welcome back to another episode of Carnage Unleashed, presented by Carnage Media Pay-Per-View. I'm your host, Clayton Scalino. Joining me today, as always, after a short break, Connor Smith. Connor, how we doing, man? It's been a couple of weeks. We took a little bit of time away to get some full-length events up, but how have we been doing?
I'm doing good, man. A lot of fun UFC's been going on and a lot of fun UFC fights coming up. So I'm excited to talk about those, predict those, and just get into everything deep going on with the UFC. It's really hitting a high point right now. So there's a lot to talk about. I'm excited.
This is a very interesting time, I feel like, to be a UFC fan, right? We just had a whole slew of pay-per-view main events announced. They announced the White House card earlier this week. All kinds of interesting stuff going on. But before we get into any of that, I feel like we need to address the man over my left shoulder, Max Holloway. So, a couple weeks ago, Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway fought for the BMF belts. Charles absolutely dominated the fight with his wrestling. Connor, we'll start with you. What did you make of this fight as a BMF fight?
So, okay, I don't like the BMF belt personally. I don't care for it. I feel like it's like a second place belt. It's for the guys that can't quite win the big belt anymore. That's how I've always felt about it. And when this fight got booked with Max and Charles, I knew it was going to go one of two ways. Either it was going to be the BMF fight that we wanted to see, and Charles was going to stick to the BMF moniker that comes with the fight, or he was going to be Charles Oliveira and stick to what he's good at, take him down. And that's what he went with. And I mean, people are going to hate it. I get it. At the end of the day, it is MMA. That's part of the sport. And that's what Charles Oliveira is good at. If you've ever watched Charles Oliveira fight, dude's one of the best grapplers on the planet. Of course, he's going to do that against a guy like Max Holloway, who's one of the best strikers on the planet. I mean, it was the recipe for success to win the title. And that's the route that he took to get it done. And for Max, I mean, if you look at Max's career, he somehow throughout his whole career has really avoided fighting any good grappler. I'm not saying he's done it on purpose, but if you look at his career, he's never really had to fight an elite level grappler like that. I mean, not that I can think of off the top of my head, is obviously he's supposed to fight Charles the first time. That fight ended with a weird injury. He was supposed to have the fight with Khabib at one point. So if Charles did what he did to him, imagine what Khabib would have done to him back then. So it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get why they're upset. I understand it wasn't super entertaining, but it's Charles Oliveira. You kind of had to assume that was going to happen.
I tend to agree with that for sure. I also think the BMF belt's kind of dumb. It's like you said, it's there to give. Back in the day, it was there to give a pay-per-view main event another title fight. Realistically, that's all it was for. Like you said, two guys who were really good fighters, but never quite good enough to win an undisputed title. That's what that belt's for. And I think now for sure is the time to retire it after a fight like that. You don't want that as the BMF thing, because the whole thing originally, right, was when Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz fought each other. Two tough as nails dudes, boxing heavy styles. Nate has a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but he's going to stand up for the most part, at least in the beginning of the fight. Two dudes that are going to stand and bang, basically. That's all that belt was. And now with Charles just wrestling Max, which again, like you said, this is not just MMA. This is prize fighting. Like there's quite a bit of money on the line for Charles Oliveira if he doesn't win. Like he stands to lose half of his check, which Charles is making pretty good money comparatively to the rest of the roster. So there's no reason, in my opinion, for him to go out there and stand and bang when he's given the fans enough of a show throughout his career, right? His title run, personally, is one of my favorite title runs that we've seen in the UFC. So, with all that being said, did it make me sad to watch that happen? Yeah. There was nothing Max could do. Like, he wasn't even really getting the better of Charles in the striking exchanges. Like, Charles just had his number that night. That happens in fighting, like especially in rematches. It always seems like whoever lost the first fight always seems to get the better of the rematch. So that's where we're at right now. I think after Ilya knocks out his next opponent, which we will talk about here in a little bit, I think Charles is definitely next in line. Am I looking forward to watching him get flatlined again? No, but I mean, that is what this sport's all about, right? The best fight the best. So and I think Charles proved that he's still elite outside of the current champ, Ilia Topuria. But moving forward, we had a fight night last night. Josh Emmett versus Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos was the main event at the Apex. But we're going to start at the bottom here. Connor, you want to go ahead and start with what fight jumped out to you from the prelims?
First, Eric Anders and Brad Tavares pops out to me just because when that fight got made, I was kind of like, okay, like that's kind of random, just kind of two older, middle of the road, middleweights going at it. I was like, okay, Anders and Tavares, like, that should be an okay fight. I wasn't expecting much out of it, and it ended up being a really entertaining and fun fight. Guys, they were landing big shots. Anders was landing big shots on Tavares, rocking him, and Tavares would fire back and land a big shot of his own, and then Anders would get some takedowns to kind of secure the rounds, and ended up getting himself a victory, and then retired right after the fight. Eric Anders said that it was his last career fight. He gets to go out on a win against Brad Tavares and right off into the sunset and a cool little send-off that he got. So, and a fight that I did not think was going to be that entertaining ended up being very entertaining and being a cool little ending. So I did enjoy that fight on the prelims.
I did as well. I've always been a big fan of Eric Anders. I've said on the show before, I like when I see football players cross over into MMA because they already have that crazy athletic background. Why not give combat sports a try? And Eric Anders was a former football player for Alabama, won a national championship with Nick Saban in the late 2000s, had a brief NFL career with the Cleveland Browns, didn't end up making the roster, and decided to transition to MMA from there. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast about a year ago, and he talked about, he'd invested his money well, he'd taken care of himself, and he didn't need to fight anymore. Which, when I hear guys saying that, I'm like, all right, dude, you just need to retire. Like, this game is very, very unforgiving. And if your head's not in it, if your head's not in it 100%, you need to get out. That's exactly what he did, I think. 18-9 overall as a professional mixed martial artist, had some fun moments in the UFC. A lot to be proud of, I think, in Eric Anders' corner. So kudos to him. Like you said, that was a really fun last fight. I had Eric Anders in round 1 and 3. Tavares knocked him down in round 2, and I think that was the difference maker. But very fun fight nonetheless. Very sad to see Eric Anders go. But looking forward to seeing Brad Tavares again. I don't think he's quite done yet. He's getting up there too, but I don't think we've seen the last of Brad Tavares yet.
Yeah, maybe a few more for him.
And then moving on up, we have Manuel Sosa. Yeah, for sure. He's tied with Bisping, I think, right now for middleweight wins. He's got to get that record, right? Like, why?
Yeah.
You gotta try. Then moving on up, we got Manuel Sosa, I think I pronounced that right, versus Balaji Oki.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably not close, I'm not going to lie. But very entertaining fight as well. Sosa was getting pieced up in the first 2 rounds. I think he lost the first 2 rounds relatively easily. Just got outstruck on the feet, couldn't really do too much to him on the ground. But in the 3rd round, he turned it up and ended up getting a finish in the last minute of the 3rd round. Connor, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, that was an entertaining fight. I didn't know much about these guys going into the fight, so I was kind of intrigued to kind of see their style, learn a lot about them. And like you said, I think Sosa was losing the first 2 rounds. He needed a finish, and the way he gets the finish with when he lands that punch, he doesn't even really set it up. He's like holding it by his hip and just like walking forward, holding it, boom, and then throws it, knocks him out like he was loading it up as he was walking across the cage and still landed it exactly where it needed to land and got himself a knockout. It was brutal. It was really cool to watch. It was a good fight. This whole card I think it was a sleeper card. I think a lot of people were kind of overlooking this card, and there was a lot of good fights, especially down in the prelims like these 2 right here. I really enjoyed this fight, and it really kept the vibe going of the entertainment that this card was bringing.
And then moving on up, Elijah Smith versus Soo Young Yu. Elijah Smith trains under his dad, Gilbert Smith, out in Colorado Springs. Gilbert was on 2 different seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. Ended up walking away with a submission victory in the second round. Very exciting prospect in Elijah Smith. I feel like people aren't giving him enough love. He's kind of, I don't want to say he's like a Sean O'Malley, but he's kind of got a similar build, right? He's a taller bantamweight, very creative striker, and he proved that he can get it done on the ground too. This guy's one to keep an eye on. I happened to be watching the Contender Series the night he won his contract. I believe that was in early 2024. 10-1 in his career, 8 straight wins. Very fun prospect we have here in Elijah Smith.
Yes. Ooh, the heavyweights.
Then moving on up, Vitor Petrino, Stephen Asplund. I can never get these right, dude. I believe that's Stephen Asplund. Either way,
Asplund, yes.
Another very entertaining fight here on the prelims. Connor, what are your thoughts?
This fight was so entertaining. Me personally, I had Vitor Petrino winning by decision, which is exactly what he did. But I thought he's going to do a lot of grappling. Petrino is a good grappler. He has good, once he gets you down, he's good at keeping you there and attacking submissions. And Asplund kind of, I don't want to say regional scene, but LFA stuff. If you'd watch his LFA fights, he would get taken down every now and then, and he would struggle to get back up. So I thought it was going to be Petrino taking him down and kind of keeping him there. Petrino was looking for takedowns in the first round, and Asplund was shutting him down. He was not having any part of the wrestling. And so they ended up becoming just a strike fest for 3 rounds. And these guys both landed big shots. Asplund's shots, I believe, were doing more damage. He rocked and dropped Petrino multiple times, but Petrino was landing more combos. He landed some clean combos. There was like one point he hit like 4 perfect shots right on the jaw of Asplund. Asplund just ate him. It was crazy. One of the best fights of the night. Like I said, this card was loaded, but this one really sticks out in my head. Petrino was able to walk away with the unanimous decision. Like I said, an absolute war of a fight between 2 heavyweights. I'm excited to watch both of them fight again, especially Asplund. He's super entertaining. He's got a great personality, down-to-earth guy, has fun fights. I'm very excited to see him fight in the UFC again.
And very needed in a division that's kind of lacking some talent right now, especially when it comes to the big boys. Moving on up, unfortunately, we had to watch an Ohioan go down in Chris Curtis, dropped a unanimous decision, and just kind of got dominated the entire time, right? Like there really wasn't anything. There wasn't anything he could do start to finish. Didn't really have any moments that jumped out to me.
No, he could not stop the takedowns for nothing. Orobai was all over him.
And then moving on up, getting into some of the nitty gritty here. I'm going to let you take this name. This is the next fight we were talking about. I'm going to be useless here, Connor. I'm not going to lie. I feel like Zach right now when it comes to names because I'm just staring at the screen. And I'm like, dude, I heard the announcer say it last night, and I still have no idea.
Are you talking about
Hardwick?
Okay. Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick, featherweight fight. Yes.
There we go, Rahiki.
Yes.
Very entertaining fight. First and foremost, kudos to Harry Hardwick. He is a tough dude. There were a lot of moments in the second round where he could have been put away relatively easily.
Yeah.
Especially in about a minute 30 into the second round, it looked like he was out on his feet. He was just eating shots, couldn't get off the fence. Then Rahiki just kind of backed off him a little bit, and then he started throwing some kicks and kind of clearing the cobwebs. But fight was unfortunately stopped in the between the second and third round. Rahiki walked away with a TKO victory. Very fun fight nonetheless, though. Very, very fun showing for the featherweights here.
Yeah, I was very excited for it because I remember Hardwick's debut. He took on short notice, up a weight class, and you've all probably seen the clips of the guy that gets TKO due to leg kicks, where he just literally can't stand up. That was Harry Hardwick. Him and his brother both were good fighters and Cage Warriors, and I used to follow them. I still do, but I found them on TikTok a couple years ago and was kind of following their stuff there. And so once their names would pop up on the UFC scene, I was very excited for it. And this fight, like I said, it was crazy. They both were throwing bombs. Rahiki, in his Contender Series fight, that's really what he did. He would throw big shots and eat big shots. And he got dropped in his Contender Series fight and was able to come back and win. So I knew Hardwick was going to have the opportunity to land some shots. And he did. He stunned Rahiki a few times. But Rahiki ends up breaking Hardwick's jaw in that fight. And that's why it had to stop. You kind of noticed as the fight's going on, you see Hardwick, his mouth's like open. And I was like, there's no way he's that tired already. It's because he couldn't close his mouth. His jaw was broken. He tells his corner after the second round and between second and third and was like, there's nothing I can do. My jaw's broke. I can't close my mouth. So they end up stopping it. Doctor stoppage. It did win fight of the night. I did see that, which it absolutely should have. Crazy fight. Good fight for both guys. Rahiki stays undefeated. Hardwick unfortunately takes another loss, but he is so entertaining, and I hope they do bring him back for another fight.
I absolutely agree with that. And then moving up into our co-main event, Gillian Robertson walks away with a unanimous decision over Amanda Lemos. Not too much here, really. Gillian Robertson stumbled a little bit in the first round, but used her grappling background to control rounds 2 and 3 to walk away with a unanimous decision. Connor, what do you kind of make of Gillian Robertson right now, right? You know, it seems like she's one of those people that's just she almost reminds me of Mackenzie Dern a little bit. Just kind of struggles with consistency in a way. Not always the most fan-friendly style. What do you make of Gillian Robertson at weight?
Yeah, it's one of them things, you know, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. She's good at what she does, but she definitely looks very uncomfortable on the feet, like she does not want to be there. I knew that was Lemos' only chance in this fight was to catch her on the feet. And like you said, in the first round, Robertson did struggle to get some takedowns. Lemos was defending him well, got on top, landed some ground and pound, some good elbows. But Robertson obviously ended up figuring it out, getting her game going, the takedowns and the smothering on top. I mean, it's going to get you wins. Nobody's going to want to watch it, but it's going to get you wins. And eventually, it'll take a minute, but eventually it'll get you up to a title shot. But at 115, it's a very stacked weight class, so she's going to have a lot of tough fighters she's going to have to go against. And if Lemos is, of all people, if Amanda Lemos was giving you some trouble in the first round, stuffing your takedowns, the higher up in the division you go, the more you're going to struggle. So she really, I believe, needs to round out her game, get more comfortable on the feet, and just all around even out as a fighter if she really wants to hit that next level.
And I would tend to agree with that. I know I said she struggles with consistency. She is on a 5-fight win streak. I would like to throw that out there. It just always seems like she'll have one bad round in a fight. Mm-hmm. Like no matter what, she'll have one bad round. You can't do that against the top ladies in the sport. Like that's just not going to fly, especially at 115. Like you said, there's a lot of good people at 115 right now. But nonetheless, like I said, she is on a 5-fight win streak. So very interested to see where she goes next. But that does bring us to our main event. Kevin Vallejos, Josh Ent. Vallejos walked away with a first-round knockout and looked completely dominant through the about 3-ish minutes, a little over 3 minutes that we saw of him. Connor, what are your thoughts on this main event with the featherweights?
Yeah, this is kind of exactly how I thought this one was going to go. They're using Josh Emmett to make the young kid look good. They needed Vallejos to get a good win because Vallejos' only loss is a Contender Series fight loss to Jean Silva, which obviously one of the best featherweights in the UFC right now. So he's been on a crazy run. They give him Josh Emmett, who's been around for a minute, who know he has that knockout power. But that's really all Emmett has is knockout power. He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't grapple. He gets punched a lot. So he gets hit a lot, but can land one big bomb. And that's really what he was trying to do to Vallejos for most of the time, was land those big bombs that he needed to land to knock him out. Obviously, Vallejos is ready for it. Was able to shut that down. Emmett tried to get a takedown at one point. Vallejos shut that down. And he just started landing his combos. And he's very slick, very clean boxing. A lot of people compare him to Ilia Topuria by the way he fights, and he does fight very similar. He's got the power too to back it up. And it's funny because Josh Emmett also fought Ilia Topuria and went 5 rounds with Ilia Topuria. Did not get knocked out, did not get finished. He got dominated, but he didn't get finished. And then Vallejos goes out here and finishes him in under 4 minutes. So very impressive win for Vallejos. Featherweight is stacked right now, so there's so many people that he could fight. No matter who it is, it's going to be a fun fight. So I'm very excited to see what they do with Kevin Vallejos.
Absolutely. And at 18-1 too, he's definitely got that experience to start taking on those higher level guys at featherweight. And I do think, unfortunately, now this is probably the beginning of the end for Josh Emmett if it hasn't been happening already. He's on the wrong side of 40 years old, so he's breaking the first rule of fighting, which is don't be 40, right? And
yeah.
When I saw him throw that big right hand with the kind of swing and a miss desperation right before he got finished, I was like, man, that might have been the real last hurrah for Josh Emmett right there. Obviously, we all saw his crazy knockout of Bryce Mitchell. I don't think anybody's ever going to forget that. That's one of the scariest knockouts that's ever happened in the UFC. But I do think, unfortunately, it might be time for Josh Emmett to consider potentially hanging them up. But
I would agree.
That is last weekend's UFC Fight Night. Moving into this weekend, the UFC is coming across the pond. They will be in London at the O2 this weekend. We got a card that's on my time. Makes me very happy. Unfortunately, the card really doesn't live up to the depth that we're kind of used to, I feel like, when they go over to the UK. But there are a couple good fights on here nonetheless. Main event is Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. Featherweights, and what we can assume would be a number 1 contender fight, right? Like, kind of has to be at this point.
That fight too with Evloev and Murphy, both guys undefeated, which is a big part of that fight. Evloev being 19-0, Lerone Murphy 17-0-1, and they have been hyping it up like this is a number 1 contenders fight. The winner will fight Volkanovski for the featherweight title. So this is big. This is big stuff here. A lot of people have been saying Evloev deserves a title shot already just because of his wins and his record. He has never finished anyone in the UFC. All of his wins are decisions. And he has a lot of canceled fights as well. He pulls out of fights a lot. So he's kind of hard to trust. There was some rumors going around that he wasn't going to be able to do this fight because of visa issues. And there was a whole thing of he's not going to make it. The visa is not going to let him be there. John Silva was rumored to step in. Like there was all this crazy stuff. But Evloev has shut it down and said he will be there. He is fighting. It's good to go. So the fight is on. Undefeated versus undefeated in the main event for a title shot. I think it's a fun fight. It's a big fight that needs to happen. And on this show, not too long ago, we did our predictions for the year. And one of my predictions in the UFC, I said Evloev would be the featherweight champion by the end of the year. He wins this fight against Lerone Murphy. That puts him at 20-0. And then he gets a title shot, you got to believe, later in the year against Alexander Volkanovski. So I could potentially be right here if he can pull this off. So there's a lot riding on this fight for me.
Very important main event here at Carnage Media. We might as well start at the top, right? Since we're already here. Yeah. Based on that, knowing your prediction, knowing kind of the styles between these two guys, who do you have in the main event, UFC London? We'll do it backwards this time. We gotta switch it up around here once in a while.
In the main event, I'm rocking with Movsar. I think he gets it done. He's getting better on the feet. He's gotten a lot better on the feet. People are so worried about his wrestling that it opens up his striking a lot. I think when it does come to striking, Lerone Murphy is the better striker. You just look at the guys that they fought. Movsar, he's beaten Aljamain Sterling. He's beaten Arnold Allen, Dan Ige, Diego Lopez. He's beaten really good guys in the UFC. I think he's beaten better guys than Lerone Murphy has. Lerone Murphy's coming off of a win against Aaron Pico, also beat Dan Ige, beat Josh Emmett, and then an old Edson Barboza. So I believe when you look at their resumes, Evloev's is better. And I think he's going to be the better grappler, the better wrestler. I think it's going to be a decision. Again, I don't think Evloev breaks his decision streak here, but I think he will get a decision over Lerone Murphy. It's a 5-rounder. I don't know if he'll win all 5. I'm going to say like 4. I'd say 4 rounds to 1, maybe 3-2 over Lerone Murphy, but I'm definitely going to rock with Movsar to get it done, become 20-0 and get himself a title shot.
And I really do have a hard time disagreeing with that, right? Just seeing the guys, and like we've talked about on here, looking at Tapology can only get you so far. But Evloev does have some really good names, like we mentioned. But the one thing that Lerone Murphy has that he doesn't is a 5-rounder in the UFC. That's the one place Lerone Murphy has been, and he's won all 5 rounds too with Josh Emmett. I believe he headlined that show.
Yes.
So, with that being said, that does matter, right? Like, you're
Absolutely.
on the biggest stage in the world, even though that show was in the Apex. You're on the biggest stage in the world, and he got the job done like how he was supposed to. But with that being said, there's no way that he's going to beat Movsar. Like, as much as I hate saying that, because the last thing that we need is another dude who doesn't market himself at all, holding a belt, just boring as hell, not finishing fights. That's the last thing we need at a championship level right now. But unfortunately, I think that's what we're going to be stuck with. I'm also going to go Movsar. He's not going to finish him. Lerone Murphy's best chance is to drag him into deep waters in 4 and 5 and look for a finish. I think that's realistically the only way that he's going to get the job done in this fight.
I would agree with that a lot.
But this might be an unorthodox pick as we look down here. One fight that jumps out to me that's going to be a lot of fun is Austin Lane moving down to 205 to get finished by some dude from Poland. That one will be kind of fun. Like, that'll be cool, I think. That's one. Well, that was one where it got booked. I was like, really?
It's kind of random.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here. That's who we're trucking across the pond. But hey, I guess we gotta give the British fans something, right? Like,
yeah. The co-main event too. They got Luke Riley in the co-main event. He was undefeated altogether as an MMA fighter, but he was undefeated in Cage Warriors and then won his debut by TKO. They got him in the co-main event. He's a big star over there in England. I believe he trains with Paddy or something like that, or close to Paddy. So he's got a lot of, clout over there in the UK. So they got him in the co-main event, which I think will be a very interesting fight. And then obviously under that too, Michael Venom Page is back, which is, I don't know.
Welterweight.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know what his plan is. He started at welterweight and then he went to middleweight and was having success at middleweight, just beat Jared Cannonier, and then goes back to welterweight and is fighting Sam Patterson. It's like, this is the most random matchup I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Sam Patterson's on a 4-fight finishing streak too.
He is.
Like, this dude, he's not fighting a can at 170 like that.
No.
He's fighting a dude that's really kind of looking to break into the rankings, right? You would think, especially if he can finish MVP, that would absolutely be enough, in my opinion, to put him into the rankings. Like,
all of his finishes, they're all first round finishes too. This guy's an animal.
Yeah, I remember seeing this got booked. I had so many questions. I was like, one, why would you put him in there at 170? That makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. He said that he got up to 233 pounds outside of camp. I was like, geez, dude, that's like Alex Pereira cutting down to 170.
Yeah, that's insane work. Oh my gosh.
Were you not working out at all? Like, I don't know what the story 100% behind that is, but I remember seeing that being like, this guy's almost 40 years old. Like, that is not good for you at all. So we got that. Back to a weight class that I guess he started in. In Bellator, he was always that guy at 70. He was always putting on fun fights at 170.
Yeah, he was styling on people in Bellator.
He beat Shara Bullet. He just came off of a victory over Jared Cannonier. He put up a decent fight against the Irish guy that nobody likes. Ian Gary. Yeah, there we go. He put up a decent fight against him at 70, but I think he definitely looked better at 85.
I do too.
Like there was nothing about his last performance that made me think, yeah, he needs to go back to 70.
No.
Like nothing about that made me think that. But alas, here we are, I guess. I gotta go with Sam Patterson. Like, as much as I don't want to pick against MVP, dude, like I think Sam Patterson's kind of that guy right now. And I think that they gave him MVP to give. Obviously, MVP is British too, but they wanted to give a British guy an opportunity to finish somebody with the name.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think that's what he did. That's what they're doing here.
I think I'm gonna go MVP. I hate picking MVP fights just because his style is so weird and it throws so many people off. You'll see guys that look incredible and then they fight MVP and they like don't know what to do just because how awkward of his style he is. And I don't know enough about Sam Patterson to say, oh yeah, he's gonna be able to figure out the MVP style. So I'm just gonna play it safe and say an MVP, the classic bouncing around, jab, cross, clinch, break, bounce around, jab, cross, clinch, break. The same thing he does every fight. I'm expecting the same thing from MVP, and I think he's gonna get himself a win. And I'm gonna go with an MVP decision. But it would be cool if Sam Patterson can pull this off. I mean, that he keep the streak alive. He has 4 first-round finishes. Gets a big jump to fight Michael Venom Page. If he could keep it going against MVP, that would really put his name on the map.
I think that his best avenue to finishing or to winning this fight is you got to keep him on the ground, right? Like MVP is one of the hardest guys to hit in the UFC, period. Like, doesn't matter how old he is, doesn't matter what weight class he's at. He's hard to hit. Like, he's made a living off of being hard to hit, starting in the Bellator days. Nobody could touch the guy. That was how he made his money. To this day, he still fights with the same style. His hands are down. He's kind of side to side. He's very quick, even at 38, 39. Man, dude, this is a very interesting fight. This, in my opinion, this is one of the more interesting fights we picked this year because I really don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, that one's a tough one. That's an interesting one to look at. It's all stylistic.
Down the card. Say Christian Leroy Duncan. Yeah, for sure. For sure. There we go. We'll let the stream catch up a little bit. Zach, go ahead and edit this out. We'll get there. Moving on down the card, Roman Dolidze, Christian Leroy Duncan at 185. This is another one that popped out to me. Roman Dolidze has been around for a minute now. It seems like he's been a ranked middleweight forever, and that's kind of because he has, right? Extreme Couture guy, had a nice little win streak going, had Anthony Smith, Kevin Holland, and Marvin Vettori, but dropped a rear naked choke loss to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez in August of last year. Haven't seen him since. It's kind of do or die right now for him, right?
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be a top. He reminds me. He's a Josh Emmett. Is what he reminds me of. He's gonna be in the rankings to let these young guys come in and get a win. I mean, what Fluffy did to him was insane. He strangled him. He literally, the finish to that was him putting him in a rear naked choke and lifting him off the ground from a seated position. It was I don't know. It was like some schoolyard bullying stuff. It was absolutely crazy. So I don't think he's ever gonna touch the title gold, but he will always be there to let a guy come up in the rankings and try to get himself a ranking.
Definitely agree with that. Standing across from him, Christian Leroy Duncan on a 3-fight win streak of his own. You gotta think that this is the guy they're wanting to win, right? You have a guy from the UK, guy from Georgia. They're setting Christian Leroy Duncan up to take that next step. That is 100% what the UFC is doing here.
Absolutely.
And then scrolling on down, one big fight that jumps out at me is Nathaniel Wood.
I was about to say Nathaniel Wood's back, yes.
Yes, Nathaniel Wood. They call him the prospect, even though he's 32 years old now. He's been in the UFC for a minute. Is currently on a 3-fight win streak. Dropped a decision to Muhammad Niamov. I think that's how you say that. But since then, he's looked pretty solid. Have not seen him yet this year, coming off of a win on the Aspinall versus Gunn card last October. Connor, who do you have in this one?
It's interesting. Like you said, Wood's been around for a while, and his last win was Jose Delgado, who just fought last night against Andre Fili, and had a competitive fight with Andre Fili. I thought Delgado was going to go out there and knock Fili out, and Fili gave him a good run. So he's coming off a good win there. He also beat Andre Fili himself. He's beaten Charles Jourdain and Charles Rosa, two guys that were on the come up at one time. Jourdain's actually kind of back on the come up again. And then his opponent, let's see if I can say this right. Okay.
Making his UFC debut.
Yes, that is true. I'm not going to say the first name. I'm not going to get that. But I bet his last name is Kita. I'm going to guess is the last name.
Yes. Octagon guy.
Yeah, he was 10-1 in Octagon.
Yes. Was supposed to make his UFC debut against Patricio Pitbull in Paris. Ended up missing weight. He missed weight by a lot. Like he had a pretty ugly weight miss there, but finally making his way to the cage for his UFC debut.
Yeah, I mean, he's 16-1, and his only loss is an injury. So like there's even an asterisk on his loss, I would say, if it's listed as injury. So I mean, he was doing big things. He won the title over there in Octagon. So it's just it's one of the things we haven't seen him in the UFC yet. So it's kind of like, I don't know what could he do? Cause he's fighting a good guy, Nathaniel Wood. I think for the fun of it, I'm going to pick him to beat Nathaniel Wood. It's that unknown. He hasn't been in the UFC yet. Can he get a feel for it? How's it going to go for him? But I think he can get it done against Nathaniel Wood. Let's say I'm gonna pick him to beat Nathaniel Wood. I think that would be fun. Spice it up a little bit. Pick the new guy over the veteran this time.
This time I'm picking the veteran, man. You gotta pick Nathaniel Wood to get it done, especially on home soil. Fighting in the UK, the UK sports fans are the best, man.
Yes.
Like going even to an American football game in the UK was a ton of fun. I cannot wait to get over to an MMA show there. Hopefully this year. I'm excited. This is an underrated fight, in my opinion. Very much so looking forward to watching Nathaniel Wood take this one, probably by decision, but nonetheless, I do think the vet, otherwise known as the prospect, I guess, get the job done. And that's pretty much all that jumps out to me. Yeah. Like I said, a little bit thinner of a card for being in front of a crowd, in my opinion. Definitely wish they would have put even like a Leon Edwards on here or something like that.
Yeah, some more name value.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, but nonetheless, like I said, I'm happy that there's a card on my time for sure. This is the first time that Paramount has been on my time since they've been over here. So very much so looking forward to this weekend. Mobsar Evloev, Lerone Murphy, main event. London O2 Arena. Let's do it. And finally, we have made it, Connor.
Yes.
Biggest fight announcement of the year so far. UFC Freedom Fight 250 taking place on the White House lawn. We got 6 fights for you, which honestly, that kind of makes sense. Like I can't imagine doing like a 14 fight show because then you have camps for all those people. You know, you got to find places to put everybody, security checks for everybody. That would just be a nightmare. So 6 fights kind of makes sense. That part of it makes sense. That might be the only part of it that makes sense in my opinion. Like I'm looking at this card and I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? For starters, we have Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't wow me. I'll be honest. Doesn't wow me. I'm not like when I picture a card at the White House, I'm picturing opening with Sean O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen. Immediately.
Yeah, Dana did this to himself. He tends to do this a lot where if it's a different type of card, he'll hype it up. It's the best card we've ever seen. He'll say that all the time. Like, dude, you can't say that to every fight because it's
No.
for months he was saying that. So like we're expecting everything, and then you're like 7 fights max. Now there's 6. So we're like, okay, these better be huge fights then. And then you started off with that, and then you got the unranked. There's unranked guys on this card. There's so much they could have done better. And I have thoughts on like every one of these fights. So I'm excited to talk about each and every one of them and what I think and what he could have done better with them.
Well, why don't we move up to the next one? This is the dumbest one on the card, in my opinion. I hate this fight. This fight makes no sense.
Before we get, I do want to say Lopez and Garcia. I think Diego Lopez steamrolls Steve Garcia. Garcia is not nearly well-rounded enough, I believe, for this point in his career. He's a power puncher. He's throwing heat to try to hit you really hard. Diego can take a shot. He can hit hard. He can grapple. I think Diego Lopez is 1,000 times better than Steve Garcia. So I do think that's going to be a little lopsided, especially because Garcia is representing the U.S. So you think they'd want the U.S. guy to win? Well, you give him Diego Lopez. Smart move. He's going to lose in the first fight of the night. So that is how I think that one's going to go.
Yeah, I definitely should have mentioned that in my rant. Like, Steve Garcia is not a good matchup for Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez will kill him. Like that's what's going to happen there. Like, and especially, I get it. You want, you set up the American to win here. You set him up to win. That is how I look at this show. It's our 250th birthday. Set up the American to win. That is 100% how this entire card should have went.
That's what they should be doing. And if you, I mean, we'll see as we talk about it. It's quite the opposite of that as you look at the card. So,
well, at least an American's guaranteed to win in this next fight.
Yeah, that's the best they can do.
Before we get here, I got a little story. So, June 14th, 2024. It's Friday night. I'm at home in my apartment. I'm in college in Bowling Green. I wanted to watch local guy David Music make his professional debut. Cage Fury Fighting Championships, located in the Philly, Atlantic City areas where they do most of their shows. One of the better regional promotions that we have here in the States. Cool. I'll watch David make his debut. I like watching regional MMA. There's a lot of times there are guys getting crazy knockouts on there. We see him on SportsCenter. I'll watch the CFFC card. Why not? And headlining that show was Kyle Dawkins.
Yes, I remember this.
Finished his guy fairly quickly. This was one of his first fights back after he got cut from the UFC. Fast forward about 2 years. It'll be almost 2 years to the day. This dude is going to be fighting Bo Nickel on the White House. Like, I mean this in the most respectful way possible. Why are we doing this? Kyle Dawkins is going to get killed, and maybe that is by design. I get it. You want to showcase Bo Nickel. He likes Donald Trump. We all heard him on Joe Rogan. But, like, dude, this fight just irritated the crap out of me. Like, give Bo Nickel somebody that's going to give us must-see TV. Don't let him just destroy Kyle Dawkins. Like, it just... When I saw this, I was like, that guy is who we picked to fight on the White House lawn. We picked Kyle Dawkins. Nobody else was free. You couldn't have done Sean Strickland and Bo Nickel, which I guess you can't because he's fighting for the middleweight title. Colby
Covington and Bo Nickel, please. They've been trying to set that up forever. Just do it. It's 2 Americans too. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, and it's like, geez Louise, dude. Like, I don't mean to put Kyle Dawkins down. I really don't. I know I sound like such a hater right now, but he's fighting on the White House lawn. Like, this dude, it should not be co-main eventing any show, period.
No.
Why is he fighting on the White House lawn? It makes no sense to me.
No, I mean, Kyle Dawkins and Bo Nickel, that's like a main card fight for a fight night. Like, that's what that should be on.
At the most.
Yeah. It could be like the opening fight of a main card on a fight night. Like, that's where I would put that. So when this got booked, it was weird. I mean, Dawkins, since he's been back, he's beaten Michel Pereira. That's what he's washed up. Let's be honest. Yes. Not the same guy. And then he Darce chokes Gerald Mearshart. Those wins don't mean anything. I'm sorry. Those mean nothing. And then he's getting Bo Nickel. Bo obviously is going to be the better wrestler. Bo's striking looked very improved. That head kick knockout in his last fight. I mean, unless Dawkins can catch him in a Darce, they call him the Darce Knight. unless he can somehow catch Bo in a Darce, I don't think anything works out for him. And Bo Nickel should easily get this one done. I mean, I knew Bo. I had a feeling Bo was going to be on the card just because of the U.S. Ties to him. We talked about Colby Covington. I thought for sure Colby would be on this card. I don't really care to see Colby fight, but I wouldn't have been mad seeing him on the card because it makes sense. This dude's whole gimmick and shtick has been the USA, Donald Trump. So I thought for sure he would be on the card, and then he's not. And they were Bo Nickel and him were like trying to get each other to fight all the time. But no, Kyle Dawkins gets the call. I'm sure Kyle Dawkins was surprised to get the call. He probably thought they had the wrong number. That is insane. But hey, if fight's a fight, I'm gonna say Bo Nickel gets this one done, and that'll be maybe one or two of the USA wins that they get on this card tonight.
This will be one of the fights of all time. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Of all the fights of all time, this will definitely be one of them.
Yeah, I don't think for years to come anyone's gonna be like, bro, do you remember Dawkins and Nickel from the White House? No one's gonna be talking about that ever. Oh man.
But moving on up,
this one
we got
makes me so happy.
Hoopy versus Michael Chandler.
Yes.
Like we had to do that to Michael Chandler. Like,
yes,
what the
we
hell,
did.
Guys? Like,
Yes, we did.
like, dude,
oh man.
Michael Chandler deserves to be on this card. Let's start there.
Yeah.
He's
I knew he was going to be
American for sure. He definitely deserves.
Yeah.
We had to give him Hoopy. Like, come on,
Yes.
guys. Like, dude, this is
I
going to be
love it.
bad.
I love
Like,
it. But my favorite part of this is because obviously Chandler's wasted like half of his career trying to fight Conor McGregor. Calling him out, trying to get the fight, and they never got it for him. And then everyone compares Rootfee to prime Conor McGregor in the way that he strikes. So like, wait, we can't get you McGregor, but we're gonna get a guy that's in his prime and fights like him. You can have that guy instead. Dude, Michael Chandler is going to get highlight reel knocked out in this fight against Rootfee 100%. And it's gonna awkwardly cut to like Donald Trump sitting there watching Michael Chandler get knocked out. He's gonna have to like awkwardly wave at the screen while he lays there unconscious. I can't believe they booked this, especially if they're trying to make the U.S. look good. But hey, I can't stand Michael Chandler, so I am all for this fight. I love it.
hey, somebody's going to look good, and that person is Mauricio Hoopy.
100%.
So somebody's going to look good here. And then moving on up, this is another fight I do realistically think the U.S. can win, I guess, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
We got Sean O'Malley, Amin Zahabi. Why is this not Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen? Why is that fight not happening? That is the perfect fight for the White House. Absolutely perfect. You have two dudes who can put on a striking clinic at any given moment, and neither of them are going to shoot a takedown. It's not going to happen. Neither of them are going to do it.
No.
Why did they not throw $1 million at each dude and be like,
yeah,
figure it out. We're going to make this work. Like, I just think that was such a missed opportunity.
Oh, no, I agree. My theory is this. They knew they wanted Sean O'Malley on the card, and they wanted Sean O'Malley to win. Corey Sandhagen's a tough fight. There's a chance Corey Sandhagen could beat Sean O'Malley, especially with his grappling. You get a guy like Amin Zahabi, who Sean O'Malley is a better striker than, but Zahabi has shot one takedown in his entire career. He loves to kickbox. He's a kickboxer. So you know he's going to try to stand and strike with O'Malley. That's going to let O'Malley do what he wants, not have to worry about a dude trying to grapple him. I mean, look at he's had 2 fights with Merab, where both times Merab's trying to grappling him the whole time. He just fought Song Yadong, where when it was a close fight, and what made it close was Song Yadong was doing good at putting pressure on him and grappling him. So now you give him a guy that shot one takedown in his whole career and a guy that he can beat. It's a safer bet for Sean O'Malley. It's a good matchup for Sean O'Malley, and it's a good win for Sean O'Malley because Zahabi's ranked pretty well in the rankings as well. I think that's exactly why they set this up, so Sean O'Malley can have his moment because, I mean, he's an industry plant, isn't he, for the UFC? So they had to give him his win, and I think this is the perfect matchup for him to be Sean O'Malley, style like Sean O'Malley, and win like Sean O'Malley.
Yes, for sure. And cut a Sean O'Malley promo at the end of it.
Yes.
Like that is exactly what they're doing here. And it just you can't call this, like we touched on, you can't call this the greatest fight card ever and then have Sean O'Malley fighting some can that can't beat him, respectfully. Like it's just, I don't know. I felt so let down by this fight, just based off of what we've been promised for about a year. I feel like this has been going on for about a year.
Yeah, and Zahabi, he is, like I said, he does like the kickboxing strike, so that'll be fun. He is on a 7-fight win streak right now. He's ranked, I can't remember his ranking in the UFC right now, but he's top 10 bantamweight in the UFC. But you look at those 7 guys. Ricky Tercios loses a lot. He beat Jose Aldo, but that was like Jose Aldo. I could believe that's Jose's last fight. Yes, that was Jose's
Aldo's
last
ghost.
fight.
Yes.
Yep, that was his last fight. And then he had a split decision against notable decision loser Chito Vera. So it's not Pedro Munoz as well, and Basharat. Nothing that like jumps off the page is like, wow, those are crazy wins compared to a guy like Sean O'Malley, who has the Peter Yan win, the Song Yudong win, the Chito Vera win. So again, a Chito win doesn't mean anything to me. Everyone beats Chito Vera, but still, he has the Peter Yan win as a current champ. And then he's got obviously the win, Aljamain Sterling as well. So he's got big wins there. So more credible wins. And I just think it's a good, because everyone's going to be like, who's Amin Zahabi? And that's what the UFC is going to do. Well, he's on a 7-fight win streak. He's ranked this. He's only lost 2 times. He beat this guy, to hype it up, to make it sound like it's a bigger deal than what it really is. So when Sean wins, like, wow, big win for Sean O'Malley. He's going to call out Peter Yan for his title shot rematch after beating Amin Zahabi. Like, okay, really?
Congratulations, man.
Yeah. I was like, okay, whatever, man, whatever. Whatever, get the U.S. a win, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll take the win there, I guess, is how I'm
Yeah.
gonna. That's another one on the U.S. versus Canada, by the way. I just wanted to throw that one out there.
Yeah.
Moving
lopsided.
on up though, I do like this co-main event.
I
That
love
is
it.
one thing. That is one thing I think they did very well. Alex Pereira has vacated his light heavyweight title to move up to heavyweight to challenge Cyril Gane for the interim heavyweight title, with Tom Aspinall still being out with eye issues. Cyril Gane in another title fight, I guess. Whoop-de-doo. Like, oh my gosh, dude. I hope Alex kicks his head off, realistically. I hope that Alex Pereira just goes in there and absolutely mops the floor with him, is what I'm hoping happens.
I like this fight. Stylistically, I think it's very fun, too, because Cyril Gane, for being a heavyweight, he's in great shape, and he moves like a lighter man. He moves like Alex Pereira. Both those guys fight very similar. They're good kickboxers that like to bounce around and throw a lot of leg kicks. So I think it's going to be very fun. I don't think it's going to be the Alex Pereira first round left hook knockout, save the day type of thing. I think Cyril Gane will give him some trouble, make him have to think, make him have to work. Same thing he did to Tom Aspinall. Everyone was expecting Tom Aspinall to run through Cyril Gane, and Gane was probably winning that fight up until the eye poke. He was doing good damage on the feet, had bloodied up Tom a little bit. So, and even then he was stopping Tom's takedowns. Alex Pereira's not going to be shooting takedowns on Cyril Gane. So I believe it's going to be a fun kickboxing fight. 2 big dudes throwing heavy shots. I do believe Pereira will win. I do believe he'll win and become the first ever 3-division champ, even though it's an interim belt. I guess it's still a 3-division champ. That's a whole gray area that I guess.
Sure.
Whatever. But, 3-division champ, he'll still be a 3-division champ there. I think he'll get it done over Cyril Gane, and Cyril Gane will continue to lose his title fights. But I think it'll be fun, and I think it'll be not as lopsided as most people are going to think when they see the name Alex Pereira on the card.
In my opinion here, and call this a hot take, if Alex Pereira wins this, he's on my MMA Mount Rushmore.
No, no one else has done it. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody else has 3 belts, has won a belt in 3 divisions. It hasn't happened. Nobody else has challenged for 3 belts. That hasn't happened. Like, this is truly, I don't think people are talking about how wild this actually is.
No, it's
like,
crazy.
This dude is fighting at a world championship level in a weight class that he's never fought in for his 3rd belt.
Yes.
Not his 2nd belt, his 3rd belt. We've seen a lot of double champs at this point. We're into the double digits now. We have never seen a triple champ, even if it's an interim belt. Even if it is an interim belt. In my opinion, if that's your 3rd belt, that's good enough.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
And then that gets to set up Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall, a fight that everyone has wanted to see for a while as well. So the story writes itself there. The UFC and everyone else is really hoping Alex Pereira wins this fight against Cyril Gane.
And then you do that fight in London so I can go.
That would be
That's
crazy.
how you do that. You do that one, and like they normally go over to the UK sometime in the fall, right? Normally in like October, I feel like.
I feel
No,
like, yeah, something like
October they're in Abu Dhabi, but you could definitely do a second. They're not called pay-per-views anymore. A second numbered event. I keep wanting to throw
Yeah.
pay-per-view. We still haven't quite moved on.
I can't remember when like when Tom Aspinall went there and fought Curtis Blades. I can't remember when that was. I'm about to see if
I feel like that was during the summer.
I kind of do
right?
too. I'm about to look.
I feel like that was a summertime card.
It was it was July.
Yes.
No. I'm sorry. Yeah, July. Yep, July 27th.
Okay.
Because it was like almost 2 years after his first fight with Curtis Blades.
Right, where he tore his ACL.
Yep.
Very interesting stuff. I also think Alex Pereira will get it done. I really hope he does. Cyril Gane just kind of annoys me. He's another guy that doesn't market himself. Is just kind of we have nobody else.
Yeah.
Let's throw this guy back in there. Maybe it'll be different. No, it's not.
Nope.
It's not going to change. It's not going to happen. So definitely pulling for Poatan in the co-main. But main event.
Yes.
We have Justin Gaethje, the highlight, beloved American fighter, put on some of the most fun fights the UFC has ever seen. Standing across the cage is a post-divorce Ilya Topuria.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Like, what can we say here? What can we say here? As a Justin Gaethje homer myself, what is he going to do here? Ilya Topuria, Justin gets hit a lot. Let's start there. Justin has been hit a lot in his UFC career.
Yes, way too much.
Ilya hits guys who can't get hit.
Yes.
It happens. And he is arguably pound for pound the strongest puncher in MMA right now. He's top 3 for sure, pound for pound. And dude, there's just I would be impressed if this fight gets out of the second round. That would blow my mind.
I think I'd be surprised if it gets out of the first. If I'm being totally honest.
I couldn't say it. I couldn't do it.
I can say it because I see Justin Gaethje gets hit way too. I think this fight, he's gonna land some calf kicks on Ilya.
Yes.
He'll land his calf kicks 100%. But I think
Rogan will lose his mind. Yes.
Yeah, like calf kicks. He'll love it. He'll freak out. But I think for Ilya, this is easier than Volkanovski. This is easier than Max Holloway. This is easier than Charles Oliveira. He's going to get another knockout. He's going to have this crazy 4-headed monster knockouts in a row. And I think this is going to be the easiest one. I think Gaethje's going to be the easiest one to knock out of all 4 of those guys.
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree with that. Like, Justin Gaethje has not given me a reason to remotely have any kind of confidence in him. Because even Patty Pimblett clipped him a couple times.
Yeah, like, that's the thing.
He got hit by Patty, and it's like, dude, we talked about this on the show too. Like, I was watching that fight, like, dude, Ilya is going to murder whoever wins this
fight.
fight.
Like, no matter who wins, they're getting smoked.
Yeah. So this is it the right fight to main event the show? Probably is the short answer.
It was my prediction. I actually, on my YouTube, you guys can check out my YouTube, showtime.tv04 on YouTube. But I made a predictions video for fights that I could see being the main event. The first 2 fights I said was Ilya Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. And then the second one I said was Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. So I got 2 of those correct. They're the co-main and main. But I do feel that Ilya and Justin was like the most obvious, the most likely main event to be there. It's a fight that needs to happen. They need to get it out of the way. We know how it's going to go. But, man, to send Justin Gaethje into the main event, repping the U.S. hard, to go against the terrifying, undefeated, post-divorce, unstoppable Ilya Topuria is just crazy. You're going to end a night that's about the U.S. with what I think is 2 U.S. wins out of 6 total fights. 2 fights are going to be winners from the U.S. Granted, one of those fights doesn't have a U.S. fighter in it, but still.
Sure.
And then in the main event, you're going to end it with a Spaniard Georgian standing up top with 2 belts, possibly 3. He might bring his featherweight belt with him and have that. You have 3 belts. He might bring the BMF belt. He was walking around with that for a while when he beat Max Holloway. He might have 4 belts in the ring, and nobody's going to stop him.
Yeah, like realistically, to save a kitten's life, I don't know who I would send in there to beat Ilia Topuria. I don't know anybody I could honestly pick at 155 right now where I'd be like, yes, this I feel 100%. I feel 20% confident that he can win.
This is why so bad Ilia versus Islam needs to somehow happen. I feel if there's anyone that could do it, it's Islam. But the more it hasn't happened, the more unconfident I get in Islam. Islam's one of my favorite fighters. I think he's pound for pound best fighter in the world. But man, I don't know. Ilia would be tough. Ilia would be so tough. It's a fight that needs to happen. That's the only guy I think that has any remote chance to beat Ilia Topuria right now. I do think Arman Tsarukyan could give him some trouble, but I still believe Ilia would beat Arman. That's the fight that needs to happen after this. Can we please finally book Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria, please? It needs to happen. Get it done.
No.
Get it done.
Dude, they hate him. Like
they hate him so bad.
Funny. And seeing what, we might as well bring this up too. He got into a little bit of a scuffle at RAF 5. Kyle O'Hara posted a really funny video about one of the dudes involved with that.
I seen that. Yeah.
That was so funny, dude. He was like, yeah, because essentially the video is about this guy who, I don't remember if Kyle commented on one of his videos or what happened, but the guy said something back to him. So he made an entire video about how he beat him in high school wrestling and like walked us through the video footage of that. That was just really funny.
The guy tried to claim that he beat Kyle, and Kyle's like, no, I beat you. Here's the clip.
Yeah, exactly. I beat you, and I have the footage. Good luck,
That's
dude.
That's funny.
That was a good one. But that did not win him any favors with the UFC, getting into a fight at Real American Wrestling.
Yeah. And then he just choked out Muhammad Makayev the other day. Did you see that? His grappling match with Muhammad
down in Brazil.
Yeah.
First and foremost, shout out to Muhammad Makayev for taking this fight. That is a crazy matchup.
Arman is massive. He's a big dude.
Yeah, Arman's a big 55er, and Makayev is sizable for 25, but he's not like a David. When I think of a big 25er, I think of Davison Figueiredo cutting down.
Yeah, he was huge.
That guy was massive for the division.
Yeah.
Makayev is like a step below that. Say a big 25er, but not a, oh my gosh, how do you make weight every time 25er?
Yeah, with Ilia, like if it's not Arman, who else would they? I don't want to see Charles fight him again. He's gonna kill. I don't want to see Charles get smoked again. I don't want to see that. Max obviously just lost, so I'm gonna give it to Max. Patty, we know what happened there. Patty can't get the shot coming off a loss. BSD. He doesn't have.
He's a fight away still.
Yeah, he's still
at least a fight away.
I would like to see if they keep the BMF belt. Have Charles defend it against BSD. I think that would be a fun BMF fight to book if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, that fight makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I don't want to see Dan Hooker. I don't care. Dan Hooker can't fight. I don't care. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sick of watching Dan Hooker talk about, I love fighting, and then get absolutely mauled.
Then get smashed. Dude.
Yeah, by BSD and Arman. Arman beat the crap out of him, and then BSD does it right after. I'm like, dude, you can't fight. I'm sorry. You need to go fight somebody else. Him and Patty can fight or something. BSD should get the BMF title shot. But Ilia, after he beats Gaethje, it has to be Arman unless they can somehow pull in the Islam fight. But other than that, nobody's touching Ilia.
Nobody's gonna be. It's not gonna happen.
No, and even if he fights Arman, I'm picking him to beat Arman. And if they were to book him in Islam, man, I would be torn on that fight. I would be torn on that.
Oh my gosh, dude. I don't know if I could pick Islam to win that fight. I really don't, because Islam's never been like, other than his freak accident knockout loss, Islam's never really been in any trouble on the feet. He could give him trouble on the feet. Like, he's not easy to. Topuria is not easy to take down.
No, but I think the biggest factor would be what weight would they fight at? Would they fight at 55 or would they fight at 70? And either way, Islam, I feel like his size and strength will. If there's the littlest bit of gaps between these two that might edge somebody over the other one, I think it would be the size and strength of Islam against Ilia. That'd be like the only thing I could think of So I think I would maybe pick Islam, but I would not have like any confidence picking either one. I'd be so nervous to pick either one.
Dude, there have been very few fights in my life where I've been sitting there and like almost shaking out of excitement. That would be one where I'd be like, oh my gosh,
yes.
dude.
I wouldn't be able to sleep the night before knowing that fight was coming up. I would be so excited.
Like that is without a doubt, in my mind, any other fight, that's a top 3 fight in UFC history.
Yeah, ever.
In my opinion. Yeah.
100%.
That is a top 3 fight. The only fights you can maybe put over that, I'm trying to think. Maybe
Connor and Khabib.
Connor jumping up to Eddie Alvarez. You could put that up there.
I would say Connor and Khabib. Yeah, I think that's the biggest fight.
That's the biggest fight.
Yeah, that's one.
I'm trying to think of what could be number 2, man. I almost think it would be a Brock Lesnar, right? It would have to be. Right?
Yeah.
I guess let me throw you one here. It could be the first real crossover event with BJ Penn and George St. Pierre. That could be up there.
Yeah, you got to think of it. A lot of people are going to think of it now, and they're going to have the recency bias of right now. You got to think of how big that was back then. Same with the Connor and Eddie thing. Everyone's like, oh, Eddie Alvarez, whatever. You got to think back then how crazy that was for him to do that. Same with the Penn and St. Pierre. So, yeah, those fights would definitely be up there. But, like, modern day stuff, because, like I said, we haven't seen something like that since Khabib and Conor McGregor. I have a poster of it over there on the wall. That's, like, that was the biggest fight, and they haven't seen something to that magnitude since then. And I think this is like the new Khabib versus McGregor. It's like an upgraded version of both Khabib and McGregor, in my opinion. I think Islam
really.
So
you got a striker versus a grappler.
Yeah, and I think too with the thing with Conor and Khabib was Conor was, he's just a striker, Khabib's just a grappler. Ilya can strike and grapple. Islam can strike and grapple. These are literally the 2 best fighters on this entire planet. If they could please make that happen somehow. I don't care what weight. Do a catch weight. Do like 160.
Yes.
Yeah. Do a 160.
That's the way you do that.
Yeah. Put them in the middle. 60, 65, 63. I don't know. Give them whatever number you need. Just make it happen. Throw all the money at them. Give them whatever they want. Like, please make it happen.
And speaking of money, this is the last topic before we get on out of here. I feel like we can't talk about the White House without talking about your favorite fighter of all time, Jon Jones. I really feel like we can't, and we won't spend a whole lot of time on it. But this week, Dana White came out and said, in classic Dana White fashion, oh, Jon was never going to be on, never going to be on the White House card. He was never in serious consideration. And then Jon came out a couple days later and was like, hey, you guys threw a massive number at me and then decided to not have me on. Like, we were in talks. Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering who to believe here, right? Like,
it's rough because I struggle to ever trust Dana White. Dana White's a compulsive liar. He lies all the time. But if anyone could lie more than Dana White, it's Jon Jones. So I don't know.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, dude, if it was anybody else, I'd be like, all right, yeah, probably Dana was just trying to cover the UFC. But because it's Jon Jones, anybody else, I would have been like, okay, I'll hear him out.
And you got to think, if Dana's like, this is going to be the biggest card to ever have, he had to talk to Jon Jones. He had to talk to Conor McGregor.
To call it.
Like, he had to, he had to talk to these big names. So, he definitely had have mentioned something, who he would fight, whether that's an Alex Pereira or what. It's just like, because Tom Aspinall wasn't going to be able to fight. Obviously, they had the interim belt. So you got to think, would Jon Jones care to fight if it's an interim title? I know he's claimed before he doesn't care about belts anymore. He's caring about, he's wanted to fight Alex Pereira for the legacy or whatever. So would he care about it being a title? What's the money like? Whatever. Because, Pereira would have done it regardless. So it's just kind of, I just wonder what that was. And then Dana talked about a fight falling off the card, said there was 7 fights. One of them fell off. A lot of people were like, oh my God, that was Ilya versus Islam. That's what it was. I was like, bro, Ilya and Gaethje was booked already. So it couldn't have been that. It's some people thought, talked about Conor McGregor. Was it supposed to be Conor and, Chandler, Conor and Diaz or whatever, all these. I'm sure it was just the 7th fight that fell. I hope it was just another random like Bo Nickel, Kyle Dawkins fight. It was just like some random.
Yeah, just somebody that like, I really wish, what it would have been, what fight should be on this card, low key, that makes kind of a lot of sense to me. Why is Sean Brady and Joaquin Buckley not on
Yeah, that would make total sense to be on this card.
here? Yeah, those are two American dudes. Like,
Yeah.
and that's a good, that fight matters at welterweight.
I'm excited for that fight too. That's gonna be a good fight.
And I'm happy it's not in the Apex anymore. They just
Yeah,
moved
I'm
it.
glad they moved it. That was good.
Yeah, but like, dude, I hope that it was just two dudes that we never
Yeah, it didn't
heard.
matter. Like Dana
Yeah.
finally one day's like, fine, you guys want to know? And it's just like two randos. We're like, oh, that was it. He goes, yeah, like quit asking. Like that's all it was. Like that would be great.
Oh my goodness, dude. Lots of fun stuff going on in the world of mixed martial arts today. And I think that will do it for this episode of Carnage Unleashed. Connor, you got some new stuff in the mix, man. Let the people know where they can find you.
Of course, you can find me here on Carnage all the time, talking all things UFC and pro wrestling and stuff like that. You can follow me on Instagram, my personal Instagram, I.am_Connor Smith. And I've really been picking up my social media stuff when it comes to UFC news and predictions and stuff. I've really been taking off with that. So I got another Instagram, Showtime.tv04 on Instagram. Same thing on TikTok, Showtime.tv04. And same thing on YouTube. I got my own YouTube now where I've been predicting fight cards, whether that's fight nights or main cards. And I've been doing recaps. I got to make a recap about the fights from last night as well. So please subscribe, like, follow all the stuff on there. I'm having a blast doing it. It's so fun. And yeah, if you guys could get it some traction, that'd be sweet. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Make sure to go follow Connor on all of his stuff. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at cscalina12. If you want to fight on Carnage Fight Series, we have two shows coming up. One on March 28th down in Zanesville, Ohio. That will be an all amateur show. And then moving into April, we have a pro-am show right at our home, Findlay, Ohio, the Cube Entertainment Complex. It'll be taking place on Saturday, April 18th. Once again, the Cube Entertainment Complex. Make sure to keep an eye on all Carnage social medias for that, whether it's tickets, the pay-per-view link, whatever you guys want, we got you covered. Thank you all for tuning in for this episode of Carnage Unleashed, and we will see you all next week.